This year, 100% I can say with confidence that I'm playing the PlayStation 2 more than before. I really enjoy the PlayStation 2 in 2025, and here is why. So even with the PlayStation 5, the backwards compatibility isn't 100% there. And yes, the Xbox Series X backwards library is there, and it goes back all the way to Xbox era. But there are a lot of games just on the PlayStation 2 that you can't play on either console. And I've been rebuilding this library of games that means a lot to me from my childhood and would mean a lot to a lot of other people from their childhood too. So the reason why I'm going back to the PlayStation 2 in 2025 is to play those games that I played in my childhood that I genuinely loved and genuinely enjoyed. And it has the backwards compatibility with the PlayStation 1, so I can replay a lot of those games as well from my childhood that I still have collected in my garage, and I re-pick them up and I can put them in my PlayStation 2, relive those memories that I loved and enjoyed so much, and that is why I'm playing the PlayStation 2 still in 2025. The cost, very inexpensive for a PlayStation 2 in 2025. You can pick one up for about $100 pre-owned to $150. Get yourself a memory card. The memory card from the exchange shop was also something like less than $10, $15, for example. And get yourself a new controller, for example. The loops and bounds that I came through was that we had original PlayStation 2s. We had problems with the actual lasers inside of the PlayStation 2, which means that I couldn't read the discs. Or I had the disc drive not being able to eject properly, stuff like that. So I had to buy a new PlayStation 2. But I always had two PlayStation 2s growing up. And it was like one of my favorite consoles growing up. I played it the most out of all my consoles, I believe. And overall, I really enjoyed the console. So to be able to play it in 2025, you will need a converter to be able to play it. So this is what I personally use. So what I use is this Hyperkin HDMI converter. So what this does is it connects via the HDMI port, which is this specific port. So on the other side, it's got a HDMI port, but you also need to power it up using a micro USB port. So this connects for power to this, and then connects to HDMI, TV or monitor, to even a gaming device, for example. But what it will do is allow you to play it for HDMI monitors. Now it has a bit of upscaling, which is really good. So you have the 16:9, which I normally have it on, or you could have it on the 4:3 ratio, which is sort of the original ratio. So I have it on 16:9 normally, and that is my aspect ratio to play the PlayStation 2 on HDMI monitors, for example, or connect it and be able to stream with the PlayStation 2. So yeah, so I still have my original 8 MB memory cards from when I was younger, so I didn't have to go out and buy more. I believe I did buy some backups. You can get like third-party ones on eBay. Obviously, they're not making these anymore. But sometimes around these exchange shops, they're just hanging around. They're like $15, so it's really worth just getting the 8 MB one. Like they'll store a few games on it. 16 MB is really good. The 64 MB ones, really good to have, okay? But they're gonna cost a little bit more, but overall, like the cost of it is pretty inexpensive today to be able to play the games that you want to play. I did have to replace the controller because I've got about 4 to 8 controllers in my cupboard at the moment of just broken PlayStation 2 controllers. So make sure we're not smacking these around, because I've had these controllers with loose connections inside, for example, and over time they do have wear and tear. This one works perfectly fine, so this is my main device. The only other thing that I've noticed with the PlayStation 2 is the load time for actually getting into the games is a lot slower than what I remember. Over time, obviously you get dust inside and stuff like that, but to load a game, it's taken me about 30 seconds to a minute, so sometimes you just have to wait a little bit longer for games to load on the PlayStation 2. I just realized like how lucky we are with the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox with the load times that we have. Like it's a lot faster than this technology. but overall it is still really usable. Something about the PlayStation 2 that was special was the DVD player. Like, it was the first PlayStation with a DVD player. It's got the backwards compatibility again. It's got just the huge library. Like, it's the most sold console of all time. Like, it's got over 100 million copies sold of the PlayStation 2, for example. Thousands of games, for example. They were releasing games about everything. Like, they got 50 Cent Bulletproof, for example, on the PlayStation 2. It's really when GTA really took off as well. A lot of games. So I've got a whole bunch of games here that I personally collected from my childhood, and I've repurchased some of these games, and they're all on eBay. I've been able to purchase a lot of games for like $100. There are some very, very expensive games out there. Budokai Tenkaichi 3, Dragon Ball Z, like that's $160 in Australia. There's a whole bunch of games that I haven't even touched yet again on the PlayStation 2 that I kind of want to revisit and play again. But these are the games that mean a lot to me, but there are a few that I still want to collect. So for example, like Need for Speed Underground. This game was the first game that I really finished on the PlayStation 2. Like, I completed this game, and a lot of games I sort of start playing and then I never finish. So Need for Speed Underground stands out to me as like one of my favorite games, because it is a game that I personally like completed like 100%, like finished the whole storyline, and I really enjoyed it. So it's more about being on the run from, like, you upgrade your car as you go, and there's like nitrous oxide and all this sort of stuff, if I can remember this like game completely. But it's a mad storyline, and the artwork for this game is incredible. I love the car selection. I gotta replay this story again just to remember everything that's happened. This is like the starting scene where you got this massive jump to escape from the police and all that sort of stuff, and it's so awesome. And I really enjoyed this game. So this one is like one of my top PlayStation 2 games of all time. Need for Speed Underground, 100% there is like the game that I think you must have. It's like an essential for the PlayStation 2. So 100% this game. I'm going to revisit this game very soon on this channel. That's a very enjoyable experience. Of course, for me personally, like SmackDown vs. Raw, like I didn't play Shut Your Mouth, I didn't play SmackDown games. I just mainly played these games, and these games took me through, I think, 2008 to 2010 sort of times. It was so much fun. I played mainly the GM modes back then, sometimes the season modes to unlock all the legends, for example, and play the GM modes, customize characters, create your own movesets and all that sort of stuff. These were the OG SmackDown vs. Raw games, and some of my favorites of all time. And of course, SmackDown vs. Raw 2008 was the year when they introduced ECW into the brand. I'm a huge wrestling fan. I don't know if people realize how much of a wrestling fan I am. Like this time, like 2005, 2006, like John Cena versus Umaga was like my first match that I ever watched. And then ever since then, I've just been watching WWE since. So I love these games. I still play the GM modes. Like last year, I picked these games back up and started playing the GM modes on my channel. And I'm just excited to play more of these games. And I got the Steelbook of 2006 as well. Gran Turismo 4, that was the Gran Turismo that we used to play when I was a kid as well. It still looks awesome. Like the graphics just look incredible still to this day. You wouldn't believe it with Gran Turismo 4. It's unbelievable how good these games look. So it says that 1493 kilobytes of memory to play this game. So it just shows how small these games are with memory and how much you can fit onto an 8 megabyte card. Of course, Crash Bandicoot. So we got Crash Bandicoot, The Wrath of Cortex. Man, like all Crash Bandicoot games are absolutely goated for the PlayStation 2. Of course, as well, I want to mention this later in the video, but I've got the original Crash Bandicoot as well for the PlayStation 1, which is backwards compatible with the PlayStation 2, of course, as well. Absolutely goated game, like some of the best like games in gaming history. I personally always go back to these games. The Insane Trilogy, for example, revisit these games. but there is nothing like playing it on the OG console. To me personally, I really love playing these games on the original hardware. It just makes it so much more fun. I never really played this, honestly, when I was a kid until now. I've personally really got to get into this game. You can get the PS5 remastered version, but once again, like, you want to play on the original hardware. And I think this game means a lot to a lot more people than myself personally. So, you know, I just want to delve back into this game. That's why I bought it. Apparently it's one of the best selling games, quality for Platinum on the PlayStation 2. So of course I got to revisit it. I played Crazy Taxi a lot when I was a kid. It's available on like GameCube, available on multiple different hardwares. Apparently this game's actually been around for a very long time. It's really, really fun. So what you do is you ride around in a taxi, you select your character. They've all got funny voices, funny personalities, for example, and you go through and you jump loops and bounds, go this and that, crash into things and all sorts to get to the end goal, which is get from one person from one place to the next. And that is what Crazy Taxi is all about. It's a crazy game and full of personality. It's really, really fun. So this is one of those games that are kind of a must-have for me because of the amount of fun memories I've had personally playing this game. Played a lot of Spyro when I was a kid, and the one game that also stood out to me that I did 100% finish the storyline with is Spyro Enter the Dragon. One of my favorite parts of this, the skateboarding part, where you collect all the gems as well. You unlock all the dragon rings, for example. I believe that's what the game was about. It was something about you have different dragon realms, you unlock them as you go, and you go through different puzzles, for example. This is one of those games where I 100% completed this game when I was a kid, really enjoyed it, and there's a lot of great memories connected to this game personally. And you can play it for the PlayStation 5 with a remastered collection of the Spyro trilogy. Nitro Kart, Crash Bandicoot, absolutely timeless game. They did remaster this for the PlayStation 5. But there's nothing like playing on the original hardware, and the story mode is absolutely fantastic. It's better than any Mario Kart storyline. Like, Mario Kart doesn't even have a storyline. This has a storyline to it, and it's really, really fun. I just picked up a couple of new games. So today I picked up Lord of the Rings: The Third Age. I remember this game being a really cool RPG game where you actually have a couple of characters to select from. You level them up as you go, for example, and you go through the levels of combat to finish the story. Really fun with customization, skilling ups. It's a really fun game and quite a popular choice for a lot of people with the PlayStation 2. Marvel Ultimate Alliance, the Marvel series for the PlayStation 2 was absolutely goated, and like Lord of the Rings: The Third Age, it's about you have 4 characters you select from, you level them up as you go. But with Marvel Ultimate Alliance, it's so cool because you get all the Marvel characters. You get choice from like Ghost Rider, Wolverine, Spider-Man, Magneto, you get Blade in the game. And there's a whole series of Marvel Ultimate Alliance games that I absolutely love. And even before then, there was the X-Men 2 Rise of Apocalypse game that I personally really enjoyed too. You gotta pick these up, you gotta play these. And of course, because of the backwards compatibility, we've got games like Digimon World, which you can't play on the PlayStation 5, and it's one of my favorite games of all time that I keep revisiting. It's just perfect. Everyone loves Digimon World. The list will go on with a lot of different games, and I think you guys will have your own selection of like PS2 games. Everyone's just got different feelings with the PlayStation 2. For me, I still love it, and I still absolutely play it in 2025 and absolutely love it. So I keep picking this console back up, and I'll just keep playing it in 2025 and revisiting it because of the games. The games are just absolutely amazing, and I love it. So thank you so much for watching this video. See you guys next time.